I was watching some videos on YouTube, and somebody had decided to do a 31-day project in October. And I've been wanting to do it, card related, for a while, and I keep forgetting when the first day of the month just happened to roll around. And I'm like, wow, I can do that. October 1st is here. I can do it. Problem was, it was almost 10 o'clock at night. So I decided to do an oldie but goodie card. I have done this card several times before. This is the third time, actually. There is a little bit of tediness about it, and I talk about that in the video on how I make it. And it's to tie in these little bows. They are so tedious, but I think they're so cute. Anyway, as I was saying about this card, I saw this card in a magazine a long time ago. It was a paper crafting magazine. I don't think it's around anymore. But it wasn't a card. It was actually a gift bag. And I was thinking that would be a perfect card. So I made it. I gave it to my stepbrother. Made another one. Gave it to my sister. And here I am making a third one. This version is a little bit different. I decided to add the extra squares in the center. And usually I just went with a band with a happy birthday on top. I decided to utilize my new punch that I got from Tuesday Morning, Martha Stewart, and I did that. So if you'd like to see how I made this cute little card, please stay tuned, excuse me, and enjoy the video. Here are the supplies you'll be needing for this card. I'm going to use an 8.5 by 11 piece of card. This is the heavy stock from Hobby Lobby. And I'll be trimming this down. I will be using a bunch of scrap card stocks that I have in my stash, all different colors. I'll be using these two square punches. If you don't have square punches, you can just cut squares. I used a 1 inch and a 1/3/8. It does not have to be my exact measurements. This card is very easy to accommodate to your measurements. So these are EK Success punches. They're fairly old. Then I'm going to use this Martha Stewart one. It's this label with this stamp that came together. It's called, and it says warm wishes to you on your special day. Don't know which way it's going to be. So I'm going to use that for the sentiment. Use whatever sentiment you have. You don't worry about not having that one. I use some ink. Doesn't have to be stays on. Stays on is a bit of an overkill for this project, but it's what I had in my drawer. I'm going to use some of this tape. I think this came from the Dollar Tree. I probably should have reinforced it with glue on this card, but I didn't. But that's okay. It's okay. Then I used some baker's twine. I used miscellaneous colors. I got them from all different kinds of places. Target. I'm thinking I got these from Walmart a long time ago, or from Michael's. Who knows? Dollar Tree. And then a ruler, not much measuring. Scissors, really not much cutting, unless you have to cut your own squares. Paper trimmer, not much paper trimming, unless you have to cut your own squares. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my card stock, my card base, and I'm going to cut a 10 by 7 card. So this is old. You can see that the letters are worn. The numbers, not letters. Duh, Karen. So 5. So we'll go by 10. And save that in your scrap pile. And then we want a 7. And then you want to fold your card. I didn't mention a bone folder. I'm not sure if I have. Oh, here's one handy. Not a necessity, but it's nice to have one. I always like to butt this up to the 5-inch, and then take the bone folder and just score it. And then you have your 5x7 card. You need the trimmer. That's all we need the trimmer for. And just make a nice crease. So you got your 5x7 card. Then I want to mat it with white card. I already pre-cut this. I think this is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. The reason I say I think is because, as I mentioned earlier, the numbers are faded off, and it's at the 5. So I was taking a guess, just pretty much. Oh! I did forget the adhesive. We do need some regular adhesive. Doesn't matter, glue stick, tape runner, whatever. We're going to add that to the white base. Yep. If you're wondering about my cutting board, my uncle made that for me. It's actually a Martha Stewart tutorial back in the day when she had a show. And it's just a rotary mat on a piece of wood. Let's see. And it's got the feet, and it's got the rubber to protect it. And you can actually use the wood part to nail in eyelets and stuff, but I usually use this part. I have a piece of glass underneath here, so that's why I'm using this board so it prevents the glare. Okay, the next thing you want to do is map out your design. You need to know how many boxes you want. So I took my 1 3/8 and I just punched a whole bunch of colors. And here they are, all these pretty colors. And then I went and took the 1 inch and punched a whole bunch of more out of my scraps. Already pre-cut. Actually, I messed up on this, so I'm using it as a template. I'm gonna put this is going to be my message up here, and I want to know how many boxes I'm going to need. So I could put 1 here. It doesn't matter your color scheme right now. 2 here, 3, and that is pretty much the layout of the card. Now here comes the very tedious part. There's only one tedious part to this card. We got your square. I'm going to remove these because we don't need them right now. Your 1 3/8 and your 1 inch. These are the pieces you'll need, and you'll need your baker's twine. And this is the only part of measuring. Like I said, I'm going to measure about a foot, 12 inches. It's a bit of an overkill, but this thing is a dickens to tie. And that, like I said, this is the hardest part, is tying your bow. So I'm going to take your smaller square, and I'm going to put a little bit of this tape on here to give it a little bit of height. Like I said, I think that this came from the Dollar Tree because it feels awful thin. And you center it, kind of, sort of. It doesn't have to be perfect, because I don't make anything perfect. Alright. Then, okay. To tie the bow, you want to make sure your baker's twine is centered in your package, because this is what it is, it's package. And you crisscross it because you're just wrapping a present. And you flip it over. And is it always me, but the one that you have to twist around always ends up smaller? Well, this time it's actually not going to happen. Usually this side is smaller for some unknown reason when I tie my bow. You just want a basic bow. And then you want to fiddle it because you don't want it too big. I hope you guys can see this. You're just tying a little package. Okay. Here's our little package. So we put the bigger square at the bottom, we put the tape in the center, then we put the little square on top, and then we tie a little tie the baker's twine into a little bow. We're going to take the scissors and we're going to snip it. Okay, before you continue, you want to take your big squares, lay them out to the colors you want, and then you want to put your little squares on top to the color you want. I did this, and it's backward, upside down, because I already put the tape on it. So I'm going to take the last one that I just showed you, and I'm going to put a little tape on it. I'm going to go ahead and peel the tape off. And this is the order that I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my embellishment, my sentiment on it. This is the one, this one is perfectly cut. This is the one that I just used for placement purposes. As you can see, I messed up on that one. If you want to see how this works, I stamped it, and with this one you really have to ink it up and stamp it really, really, really hard, because you do not get the text to print very well. I have copies, I have examples, I don't know where I put them. And then you just line it up with your punch. I know this is at a weird angle. When I got this punch was actually messed up, so that's why it did that corner thing. And I was able to press it real hard, and it started working good. And then pops out. You get a perfect punch. But after I pressed it real hard, it realigned it. So this was my first time using it after I did that. So that's why it tore. Then I'm going to add the tape to the back of that to give it some lift. Go over. Okay. All right. So I put this at the top, kind of in the center, because I don't do a lot of measuring, as you obviously noticed. And I just start placing them to where I want them to be. And this is the one we did on camera. Nope, that's not the one. This is the one we did on camera. Because it was the yellow. I think I can move this one a little bit over. And the green. And this orangey. And this pink and yellow. And this yellow blue. Oops, got a little bit of scrap there in the way. And this last one. And there's the card. All done. There's one last touch we need to do for this card, and I almost forgot about it. This is actually my most used stamp ever, and it's one of a kind, art created by, and then you sign your name, and it's created by hand, inspired by life. And I always stamp it at the back. So I'm going to open this up so I have a nice flat spot, and this stamp really stamps good. Ta-da! There you go. And that completes the card. Like I said, you can change this to any measurement you want. You can use a different size card. You can use different size squares. You can use a different sentiment. This is very versatile to do. And it can be Christmas. It could be birthday. It could be any type of holiday. If you have any questions, comments, and concerns, please leave them in that comment section below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button or the like button if you liked it. Until next time, stay calm and make cards.